President Ilir Meta stated that he is ready to revise the decree on the date of local elections, adding that he is even willing to resign from his post as president if it serves to resolve the crisis for the country and the citizens. In the early hours of today, Prime Minister Rama wrote a third letter to the head of the opposition, Lulzim Basha, again inviting for dialogue while making it clear there will be no change to the government without elections. The Academy of Sciences will be led by Skandar Dinushi for the next 4 years after being voted in with 35 of 43 votes, promising to stop the politicisation trends of the Academy. It's 6 o'clock on Friday, the 24th of May 2019. Good evening and thank you for tuning in to RTV Ora's English edition. My name is Alexandra, bringing you the only daily update of the local Albanian news translated into English. The President of the Republic is ready to change the election date in order to resolve the constitutional, institutional and political crisis in which the country is involved. For Ilir Meta, the democratic coexistence and unity of the people are constitutional principles that must be protected first and foremost before any other secondary or formal regulation. I express my institutional readiness in accordance with the competence given to me in the Constitution to revise the decree on the determination of the local election date and to enact another date for their development in accordance with the will expressed by the political parties, said President Meta. The head of state called on both Rama and Basha to put an end to communication through public letters and to engage sincerely and responsibly to find a solution that is as fast and stable as possible. Meta wanted to set an example for the two political opponents that the interest of the country should be put above all else, saying he is even ready to resign from his post as president. As I declared responsibly on March 20 from Pogradec, I will remain in readiness for the determination of a solution that serves public interest, stability and democracy in the country. I'm willing to resign from my mandate as President of the Republic if the parties see it as important for a comprehensive solution that would give the Albanian citizens the right to elect the President with their free vote, explained Meta. By responding to the statements of the German Parliament that citizens should have alternatives to choose in the elections, the President made it clear that political pluralism is protected by the Constitution. Among other things, Article 3 of the Constitution of the Republic of Albania clearly defines the constitutional obligation for the protection of political pluralism. I joined the appeal of the German Parliament that it is the responsibility of political decision makers to behave appropriately in this situation and to make all the effort to try and calm the situation. Because if that does not happen, there is a risk that the country will step off the path towards Europe, Meta contributed further. The mandate of mayors elected in 2015 ends in July of this year. It is still unclear if the President will seek a postponement of the local elections to the fall or if he will call for a transitional change to the Constitution. The second alternative must have the consensus of the majority because the transitory changes can only be made by the Council of Mandates. Prime Minister Edi Rama sees Lulzim Basha's answer to recent public letters as a good opportunity for dialogue. In his third written open letter, the Prime Minister considered the accusations made by the DP chair as half-true before inviting Basha once again for unconditional dialogue. Rama also reiterated clearly to Basha that he cannot come into power without being elected. However, for the sake of the people who rightly expect the leaders of every political party to dialogue, I consider your message as an opportunity to encourage discussion. You have no chance of preventing the June 30 elections for those who want to vote. There is no chance of changing the government without elections, no chance to stop me and the Socialist Party of Albania from carrying out the historic mission of the European transformation of Albania, said Edi Rama. Regarding the accusations in the letter from the chair of the Democratic Party to the citizens, the Prime Minister informed Basha that they will meet again in the courts to hear the case of defamation. For the sake of this open communication between us, let me inform you that I will invite you to the court, and I dare you to bring even a single piece of evidence for all the accusations you have made in your message yesterday. Starting from the accusation of the €30 million I supposedly wanted to steal and launder in America with a fake company, to my brother's supposed connection with a criminal group of drug traffickers, even my alleged negotiations regarding the borders of Albania and even Kosovo, added Rama. Yesterday, Lulzim Basha issued an open letter to the public requesting Edi Rama's resignation from the post of Prime Minister. But Rama explains in his response that hearing such demands only motivates him more to be an even stronger leader for the country. 23 illegal immigrants were detained in Kapstica on the second day of the deployment of Frontex officers at the green border between Albania and Greece. Immigrants have been caught by Frontex forces in cooperation with the Albanian police stationed at the border. The illegal immigrants were determined to have originated from Syria and Iran, and among them were 3 children. The migrants made refugee declarations and, as such, will be transported to the Asylum Seeker Centre. 50 Frontex effectives are patrolling Albanian borders with the mission to stop the high influx of illegal migrations. The elections held at the Academy of Sciences today did not offer any surprises, especially as there was only one candidate in the race for Academy Chair. For the next 4 years, the Academy will be headed by Skandar Gjinushi. He received the vote of confidence from 35 academics from a total of 43 voters. Gjinushi pledged that he would keep politics away from the Academy and that he will reform it. The elections at the Academy of Sciences were rejected by academic Artan Fuga and the Democratic Party as the entire process as a farce. Artan Fuga, a critic of the draft law on reforming the Academy, did not take part in the vote. Through social networks, the academic urged President Meta not to decree the election result. He stated that today is a black day for science and education in Albania. I refuse to accept the institutional coup d'etat and the electoral crime occurring at the Albanian Academy of Sciences. I do not recognise the farcical election of May 24, 2019, determined Fuga. As expected, Vasil Tole was elected Vice Chairman, Salvatore Busciati as Secretary of the Academy, and Neki Frashli as the Head of the Natural Sciences section. 43 academics voted in today's election, 11 by post, and among them was also the writer Ismail Kadare. The Minister for the Environment and Rural Development, Blendi Klosi, declared today that the measures against those destroying forests will be tightened. Furthermore, the Minister stressed that the legal measures against violators have been increased and do include the possibility of imprisonment. Firstly, this bill brings Albanian legislation in line with that of the EU regarding forests. It creates a licensing scheme for the import of wood from the European community and on the obligations of operators placing wood products on the market. The bill strengthens the status of forests as a wealth of national value and as a valuable contributor to the country's sustainable economic and social development, announced Klosi. This declaration came during the presentation of the first part of the new forest bill, where environmental experts, forestry engineers, pedagogues and other interested persons were present. Minister Klosi announced that, for the first time, forests will be treated as common property, which will have a priority on the development of rural areas, local communities and vulnerable social strata. The draft envisages the first establishment of the State Forest Agency as a new institution under the Ministry of Tourism and Environment. The aim is to supplement the missing link between the Ministry and the municipalities, which will pass on the rights to administer and inspect forests, as well as other protected areas. This draft law determines the role of community structures in the village for the sustainable use of forests with the intention to develop rural areas. It will also strengthen the role of higher and professional education institutions for scientific expertise in the field of forests. Also, an important change that comes with this draft law that we are presenting today is the escalation of penalties and measures against offenders, such as suspension or blocking of activity, removal of licences, seizure of goods, and fines against institution employees in cases of violations or non-compliance with legal responsibilities, outlined Minister Klosi. At the end of his speech, the experts made their comments on the content of the draft law, the reflections to be considered and integrated into the next draft, which will then be passed on to gain approval from the government. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join us again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of RTV Ora, thank you and good night.